Okay, let's start with family companies. Family companies पे काफी बार you can expect a question in the exam, but not all aspects of family companies. Specifically, there are certain elements in the discussion that are more frequently tested. One of which is the personal service company discussion. Now, what is a personal service company situation? Understand the situation first, and then the other part is procedural in nature. Say, for example, Satyamed is an individual and he's a faculty, okay, and Plutus Education is a company. Now, Satyamed provides services to Plutus Education as a faculty. Plutus Education pays Satyamed. But Satyamed is not an employee of Plutus. He is like a consultant, but he works for Plutus the whole time. Now, there is a change of thought that takes place that, you know what, because Satyamed is an individual, if we make him an employee, we'll have to pay class one and class one employer, class one employee contribution. हमें दुनिया भर का NIC NIC सब पे करना पड़ेगा. We don't want to do that. So if we make him a consultant or something like that, still the tax rates are pretty high for individuals also. Plus इंडिविजुअल को क्लास 4 NIC पे करना पड़ेगा, ये सारा गड़बड़ होगा. तो व्हाट सत्यमेट डज इज सत्यमेट इनकॉर्पोरेट्स अ कंपनी कॉल्ड सत्यमेट प्राइवेट लिमिटेड. एंड पहले जो बिलिंग सत्यमेट इंडिविजुअल वाज डूइंग टू प्लूटस एजुकेशन, नाउ सत्यमेट प्राइवेट लिमिटेड इज डूइंग दैट बिलिंग टू प्लूटस एजुकेशन लिमिटेड. सो प्लूटस इज, सी प्लूटस के लिए तो कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है. It was paying 50 lakhs to Satyamed, it is now paying 50 lakhs to this company. But there are quite a few interesting adjustments that can happen in this case. Satyamed, who is an individual, is a primary shareholder in Satyamed Private Limited. And now Satyamed Private Limited, whatever profit it earns now, it gives the money to Satyamed in the form of dividend. Now that dividend is always taxed at 8.75, 33.75, 39.35, which is lower than the 20, 40, 45% rate. So by using this circuitous route, you were able to reduce the tax liability on Satyamed the individual. HMRC naturally is not an idiot. It realized the fact that such situations are happening. So what HMRC said was कि when this situation is there, we'll call it a personal service company situation. It is also called as the IR35 legislation, and then we'll have a different set of rules for calculating the income. अब if the services are provided to a small organization, ठीक है, for services provided to a small client, only relevant engagements will be caught by the rules. ठीक है. अब relevant engagement का amount वगैरह सब आपको दिया रहेगा. The PSC has to treat income from relevant engagements arising in a tax year as if it were paid out as salary to the employee and account for the notional income tax and NICs on 19th April following the end of the tax year. अब नोशनल सैलरी कैसे निकलेगा? नोशनल सैलरी इज द इनकम फ्रॉम रेलेवेंट एंगेजमेंट्स रिड्यूस्ड बाय द फॉलोइंग. आपको नोशनल सैलरी का कैलकुलेशन ऐसे करना है. दिस फॉर्मूला यू हैव टू लर्न. Amount received in tax year from relevant engagements minus 5% statutory deduction minus employer NIC paid by PSC, pension contribution paid by PSC, salary paid by PSC. Then allowable expenses, you will get deemed salary including PSC's deemed employer NIC. उसमें से आप again calculate करो that amount into 13 by 8 upon 113.8. You will get the notional salary figure. अब ये notional salary will be added to the individual's actual salary. See, if you remember, we did this one question where in the question उस एम्प्लॉय को कुछ 25,000 का सैलरी था, देन ही वाज गिवन अ डिविडेंड ऑफ सम 30,000, दैट टोटल वाज कमिंग टू 55,000 एंड देन नोशनल सैलरी वाज अराउंड द सेम नंबर. सो इन दैट केस वी सेड कि डिविडेंड को इग्नोर करो, नोशनल सैलरी इज एनीवे कवरिंग अप फॉर ऑल ऑफ दैट. If services are provided to a medium or a large organization, then payment in respect of services provided net of VAT less direct cost of material incurred by PSC less deductible employee expense incurred by the PSC. इसके बाद जो amount बचेगा, that will be deemed direct payment and that will be included in the income of that particular individual. So basically, the idea of personal service companies is to ensure that the anti-avoidance activity, so avoidance activities that were happening, you can nip those activities in the bud. यहाँ पे formula learn करना है, that is the only thing that you are supposed to do. Another aspect of family companies is the liquid withdrawal of investment from the company and liquidation. अब यहाँ पे what question can be frequently is frequently tested. See, when you are withdrawing your investment from the company, matlab you had invested in the company and now you are selling off the shares. So in that case, where a shareholder wishes to withdraw his, her, or their investment from a company, there are a number of exit strategies available. The shareholder could sell the shares in the company could purchase the shares back from the shareholder, the company could be put into liquidation. See, if there is a sale of shares, there will be a CGT. Where a company buys back its own shares, then there are two options. Either the disposal would be treated like a CGT disposal and you will charge CGT on that. The company must be an unquoted trading company. So if you want to treat something as a CGT disposal, then what are the conditions to be fulfilled? 6 conditions hai. Company must be an unquoted trading company. Shareholder must be resident in the company. The shares must normally have been owned by the shareholder for at least 5 years. If acquired from the spouse or civil partner, the combined length is considered. The shareholder must not immediately after the purchase be connected with the company. ये एक important condition है. The shareholder must either dispose of his, her, or their interest in the company, or the interest must be substantially reduced. This means the shareholder percentage shareholding after the repurchase does not exceed 75% of the shareholders' previous percentage shareholding, and it must not be for avoidance of tax. अगर ये सब fulfill हुआ तो the disposal is treated as a capital gains वाला disposal, otherwise it is treated as dividend. If the company is going into liquidation, if payments are made to shareholders before the liquidator is appointed, taxed as dividend. If the payment is made to the shareholder after the liquidator is appointed, it is treated as a capital receipt. ये वाले provisions एक बार थोड़ा और अच्छे से देख लेना. That is pretty much all that you have about family companies.